Welcome to the Weaver Sews. I'm Daryl Lancaster.
And I'm Brianna Lancaster.
Last episode, we looked at how to figure out what pattern size you are when there is no sizing standard in women's clothing, and how to figure this when finished garment dimensions are given in the pattern support materials. Last time, we used my body to explain this process. This week, we'll take a look at a completely different body type, my daughter, Brianna. Obviously, she takes after her father in stature and build. And it has been a great asset to me to have someone who has such different body dimensions than I do work with me. Brianna is 5 foot 11 inches tall, or about 1.8 meters. So length in the torso will affect the position of some horizontal elements like pockets and darts and hems. Last episode, I spent some time in my closet finding a woven garment that best represented the fit that I would want in a jacket. We were specifically looking to fit my 200 jacket, which has a more tailored set-in sleeve and waist darts. I asked Brianna to go shopping in her closet to find a garment or two that would help discover what she might like in a jacket. Brianna was not able to find one garment, but 2 different shirts, each that had parts that resembled what she might want. I'll let her try each on and describe the positive and negative attributes of each. You ready?
As I'll ever be. So this shirt, definitely too short in the sleeves. That does not appeal to me at all. But in terms of, so keeping on sleeves, it's a little too tight in the sleeve for me. I have arms. I've got arms. And I can't really, it doesn't feel nice moving forward.
So in a jacket, it would be way too small.
Way too snug, especially considering a jacket would layer. But in terms of the body, this is a nice size. It goes around. If I button it and doing the minimal amount of movement doesn't pucker the button area.
Great.
I generally like the fit other than the sleeves. So this one, I wouldn't button because this is barely reaching across the front here. It barely reaches. But I would maybe like an extra inch on the sleeve, but better length. And it fits in the sleeve. Like I can move and I don't feel, what's the word? Constrained.
Constricted or constrained?
That word. English. But, and it might be a little, I don't know if that's a sleeve or across the back.
But if this was a hand-woven fabric,
True.
it would give a lot differently. And of course the length on it.
And it's like,
Yeah.
like I want at least another 8 inches on this. Like. But,
Okay.
yeah, that is not making it. No.
All right. Brianna's bust circumference measures 48 inches, or about 122 centimeters. If I measure Brianna's chest wall,
So that's here.
and then subtract it from her bust circumference, I find that there is a 5-inch or 12.7 centimeter difference. In my patterns, that would require an increase in cup size. By measuring the green print Ralph Lauren shirt in a size 2X, whatever that means, buttoned and flat on the table, we can take that circumference and compare it to her bust circumference measurement. The shirt measures 52.5 inches or 133 centimeters circumference around the bust. If we subtract the two, the finished bust circumference of the shirt, 52.5 inches or 133 centimeters, and Brianna's bust circumference, 48 inches or about 122 centimeters, we would assume that Brianna likes about 4.5 inches or 11.4 centimeters of ease around her bust. Well, of course, this would depend on the silhouette or style and purpose of the garment and what fabric she will use. If we look at the size chart for my 200 jacket pattern, that's the one with the waist darts and more fitted than my 100 jacket, we see that the finished bust circumference for my size purple is 49 5/8 or 126 centimeters. The purple size is not as generous across the bust as the Ralph Lauren shirt, and it happens to be the largest size I offer in that particular pattern. Let's take a measurement of the red shirt, the one that Brianna liked that felt comfortable in the sleeve but skimpy across the bust. This is a Chico's shirt, size 3, whatever that means. And interesting to note, there is no bust dart. Just as a comparison, last time I tried on a Chico's shirt from my closet, and it was a size 1. So basically what we can figure from that is that this size 3 is bigger than my size 1. The shirt measures 49 inches or 124.5 centimeters around the bust circumference. Now remember, Brianna's bust circumference is 48 inches or 122 centimeters. So this shirt, which is only 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters larger, is not going to be comfortable and won't work for a jacket. Let's actually try on a sample that I've made up of the actual size purple 200 jacket. I've made this sample from a bed sheet, so there is no give at all, especially when compared to a hand-woven fabric. And it shows exactly what I'm talking about. The sleeve is too tight in the arm and too snug across the bust. And now we know why. Brianna has told me, though, that she likes a more fitted garment below the bust and likes the way the waist darts fit in the front and the back. We talked about this in the darts tutorial. Often those with fuller assets don't want a boxy look that just hangs from the fullest part of the bust circumference straight down. Though the purple is my largest size in the 200 jacket, we can still get this jacket to fit well by adding to the bust cup as described in the darts tutorial part 1. It should be noted that when I drafted the 200 jacket, I stopped at the purple size because I have another jacket, the 100 jacket, that seemed to work better on those with fuller arms, with a more generous bust cup circumference, and a more generous figure overall. So let's try on a B front 100 jacket in the same purple size. Remember, if you've been following along with my videos, that a B front in the 100 jacket has a bust dart as compared to the A front, which does not. And both fronts are included in the pattern file. You'll note that the finished bust circumference for the purple size B front is 51 1/4 inch or 130.1 centimeters. Now this is much closer in size to the Ralph Lauren shirt in a size 2X, which was 52 1.5 inches or 133 centimeters. Brianna likes the way the sleeve fits and feels so much better than the 200 jacket, which makes sense because the sleeve has a shallower cap and a deeper armhole. I compared the two sleeves in the video on sleeves, and the fit across the bust is much more appropriate. The jacket is still a bit skimpier than the Ralph Lauren shirt, and Brianna likes a more fitted jacket in the waist area. So we can correct both of those issues by adding to the cup size as described in the darts tutorial, part 1. That will automatically give us waist darts, which will give her the shaping that she wants below the bust and a little bit extra ease across the front. Now let's talk about the hip area. The 100 jacket is about 2 inches or 5 centimeters longer than the 200 jacket, which Brianna finds appealing. I don't think they can see all the way to the bottom.
Doing the best I can. I'm a tall person in a short basement.
If we measure down 30.5 inches or 77.4 centimeters from Brianna's C7 vertebra at the back neck, and we take a hip circumference measurement at that point, we get 53.5 inches or about 136 centimeters. Now compare that to the finished lower width of the 100 purple jacket, which is 54 inches or 137.1 centimeters. They measure about the same. If we add Brianna's preferred ease of 4.5 inches or 11.4 centimeters to her hip circumference of 53.5 inches or about 136 centimeters, we come up with 58 inches or 147 centimeters.
That's a lot of math.
It's a lot of math, but that's about the circumference of the next size up, which is lime. Here's a sample of the B front 100 jacket size lime. You can see it's much more generous in the hip than the purple size. So what I'd recommend to Brianna is to use the B front 100 jacket size purple to add to the cup size, creating more ease across the front and waist darts, and combine the size purple with the size lime hip. Check out the video on combining sizes when a bust dart gets in the way to understand how to go from a size purple bust to a size lime hip, or any combination of sizes. Any fullness in the back waist can be pinched out in a couple of back waist darts. And since Brianna has a bit of a sway back, darts should end just as the seat starts to curve out instead of reaching all the way to the lower edge like the 200 jacket does. And take a look where the bust dart ends. It's a little high, and we will note that when we add to the cup size, making sure it points to her bust point to be really effective. Correct.
They don't point to each other.
No. Now, as for the sleeves, I'll eventually cover what to do when a sleeve is too snug across the upper arm. That will be an entire video on its own, since there are a number of options. I do get asked if the 100 sleeve can be put onto the 200 jacket body. And the answer is technically yes. You can't just put any sleeve in any armhole, but you can overlay and trace the 100 armhole into the 200 body. so the 100 sleeve will then fit. I gave a tutorial on this in the video about combining pattern elements, where I put the 200 jacket armhole and sleeve onto the 1000 swing dress to create this summer top. With some practice, some good old-fashioned trial and error, and spending time looking in your own closet about what works and why, you'll begin to understand how flat patterns work on the body, and eventually be able to fit yourself and create some amazing garments, whether you are a hand weaver or not.
Or a cat.
Hi, Mulder. I'm Daryl Lancaster for The Weaver Sews.